Public school, the enslavement of our children. The broken system of our society is based on social controls in which our natural behavior is suppressed and controlled in childhood. As adults, we then suppress and control ourselves and pass along this heritage of oppression to our children. I wish for you to understand some of the roots of this system of corrupted power in our culture today, which has arisen from our life-destroying attitudes. I want you to see how this power structure is taught in school and how you have become accustomed through your socialization to believe in a false and imaginary authority. Except for recess and physical education and talking to other students, I never liked school. I did not like most of my classwork or classroom experience. It was real drudgery. And I even went to a supposedly highly reputable school where people pay lots of money and to buy expensive houses and live near this public institution. I believe different listeners will have different conclusions about schooling for their children. I acknowledge that for some children, school may provide wonderful rewards. I'm not here to be an authority figure for you. I'm here to remind you of your own authority. In the end, the choices you make are yours. But first, it might be a good idea to see what school really does to our children and what it did to you. Do you remember what you learned in school? I've forgotten most of what I've learned in traditional school, including college, and I even have a 4-year degree from the University of California, Santa Cruz, which proves that I am educated. Yes, I did enjoy a yoga class, the one meaningful class I took there. I did partially improve my writing in the university, but there was a specific rigid way I was expected to write. I believe my lack of memory about school and the subjects taught in class has to do with the fact that what I learned has no relevance. In order to graduate from college, I didn't need to think for myself. I just needed to be a good parrot and rephrase what the professors or the book presented. In other words, I had to learn from the authority figure, the professor or the book, and just repeat what they said. And if I believed and could present what the authority said, I'm deemed educated. How much do you remember about specific topics and lessons learned in school, especially in those early years like kindergarten through high school? It would seem that you should remember a lot. After all, you spent at least 12 very influential years in school. Of those 12 years, what do you have left now that is meaningful and practical? Yes, there were the memorable field trips, and the enjoyable extracurricular projects, the friends. I'm talking about the bigger picture. What did you really get out of your time in school? How did you spend those 12 years? In school, we learn lots of facts and theories, yet a majority of us forget those facts and theories just a few short years later. So what is the point? For example, I took an engineering math class in college of moderately advanced calculus and geometry, and I scored near the top of the class. But today, 10 years later, if you give me a calculus equation, I don't know what to do with it. I use a calculator to solve my simple math problems. The only sure skills I learned from 1st through 12th grades are reading, writing, and basic arithmetic. An intelligent 12-year-old could learn most of those skills in 4 to 12 months. Most adults could fit all their great memorable learning experiences from their whole childhood school years into 3 to 9 months of part-time classes just focused on those special, fun, and memorable activities. So what did you learn the rest of the time? Why were you there? What was accomplished? To add to this not-so-funny joke we call school is college. I arrived at the prestigious university. I sit in the big lecture hall, and the professor is like a little ant right there in the front. And what does the professor say? He says, the history you learned in high school, elementary school, well, that's wrong. So part of being in college is learning how short-sighted and mostly inaccurate the first 12 years of school was. Have you ever wondered what the point of going to school is for so long in the first place, when very little of the classroom knowledge is useful for adulthood? For example, I did not learn carpentry, even though that would have been useful. I didn't learn how to fix a broken toilet or how to check for gas leaks. Other useful skills I could have learned would be car repair, which is one subject taught in high school, computer repair, farming, gardening, raising livestock, ecological buildings, how to start a business, how to be healthy, how to have good relationships, how to help people, how to heal people, how to be one with the universe, how to experience pleasure of being alive. The list of useful things I didn't learn could go on and on. The pinnacle of my kindergarten through 12th grade education was 7th grade woodshop. I learned how to make a small wooden pencil. I actually have right here my favorite pen that I made in 7th grade woodshop. This is what I have left from my schooling experience. This was one of my most memorable classes and experiences, 7th grade woodshop. I remember when I was in school in class, I would make up games. I would stare at the desk. I would stare at the clock. I would fade in and out of reality, suffering the endless torture of forced confinement. I didn't know why I was there. I just had to deal with it. Why do we learn almost nothing in school that serves us? The answer lies in the panopticon. We actually learn quite a bit in school, as you'll see. And as usual, it's not what you expected.